Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the CVR World Cup League race, Zone E. We're out on 2 laps of the Greater London Loop, 42K, about 26 miles that the riders are going to be racing in. 4:40 to the start of the men's race. I got Quentin Lefay with me as co-commentator today. Quentin, how's it going? Welcome to the program.
Yeah, well, hey everyone, and it's going to be another fun race around London. A lot of London roads on Tuesdays. It looked like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's definitely a battle heating up at the top of the men's race right now. Kim Little currently with 6,002 points. Matthew Joujon with 6,002 points. Marcin Kryswonos currently in third place coming out of Poland. It looks like 5,940 points. Looks like they're well with out of the reach, actually, of Marcin at this point. Tom of Kalen to 58.32, though, and then Henrik Ogier. Now, in the CVR World Cup, this is a battle for an invitation to a live final where there are some pretty big prizes on the line. Kim and Matthew, though, if, depending on who wins it here in this Zone E, that's going to decide whether or not they are going to the live final for sure. But there's also the postseason racing that looks to be taking place here in a couple of weeks. And Marcin Kryswonos, along with whoever doesn't take down that first place, Matthew or Kim, are going to be battling it out with Marcin, perhaps maybe Tom of Kalen, depending on what kind of points people can throw down here, because it's second and third place that ended up battling out for that next spot in the zone. If I'm not incorrect there, Quentin.
Exactly, and the thing is that Kim and Matthew are pretty much out of reach from Marcin, but Marcin is actually pretty much out of reach from the riders behind him, because now anyone who wants to get to that third place is almost going to have to win the next 2 races and score a lot more points than Marcin, because, well, with 5,940 Martin is pretty much assured to be third in that rankings, and now Matthew and Kim are very close in the rankings, and even if they come first and second today or the day after that, they are going to be even closer, because the differential is not that high, because they both stream, they both get the additional 5 points, and well, that's as close as you can get. I mean, no other zone has closer rider than we have here. We have a very good duel, and from 2 of the oldest team in Zwift. So it's good to see that kind of battle in the Zone E.
So essentially, what you're saying is that depending on who wins this, one's going to be going to the final, but then Kryswonos is pretty much looking to a head-to-head battle between himself and whoever does not win. So his opponent then looks to be either Vision Cycling with Matthew or Team Experimental with Kim Little, depending on who takes this down. And Team Poland, knowing them, are going to show up in force.
Exactly, and that adds one thing, because they always show up in force. I mean, Team Poland, they always show up in force, and they might influence the outcome of the Kim and Matthew duel, because they are going to want to face one of them, and they have the opportunity on the next 2 races to maybe help the one that they don't want to face in the next postseason that's coming. So maybe if Kryswonos feels comfortable with taking Kim in a sprint, or Matthew, or in any kind of climb, he can choose that. I want to race with these guys and with this guy and not this other one, and try to favor either one of them in the next 2 races, and be another element of not surprise, but of influence over the results of the next 2 races.
7 seconds to go here, and the usual fast start I'm expecting here. 51 racers in the pens here for the A race right now. Speaking of Team Poland here, they got a new kitten game, it looks like. I'm seeing Team PL on the screen here. Pretty cool to see. And it looks like they've got some sort of a falcon or something on there with that red. Some sort of a bird is representing there with the red and the white there. I'd have to get a little interview with one of the designers there, or at least one of the team members, get an idea. But very cool to see their kit in game there. Super fast start though, as we do see. Chris Wonos is here, obviously from Team Poland, and they're definitely sporting, all of them sporting that new kit in game. Very cool to see. Up toward the front here, Hodges, the cake man, is showing up. Now, in the women's side of racing, though, there is a battle going on as well as they're about to take off from the start line here. I do see Chris Min out there, as well as Kessel's. Kona Bear, though, is one of the stories, I think, for Team Vixen, as they have, it looks like, that spot may be locked down. Now, the series leader currently amongst the women, Anna Barbato there. 6 races in, though. 59-69 there, current points. So that's only because she has 6 races in. Has more races in, but being a best of 6 situation, it's actually going to be Carrie, most likely, who will take over that top spot, especially since she is streaming.
Exactly. And, well... in the women's rankings, the top 3 is pretty much done. We have Anna Barbado, Carrie Conabeer, and Christine Falk, but the order is yet to be determined and to be set. As Anna has the edge for now because she has one more race in the books, but Carrie seems to be the one with the more points, and who is streaming as well. But you never know. I mean, maybe she can have a couple of bad days. You know, it can happen. And you know, Christine has been very consistent as well. So it's gonna come down to if Carrie can hold on to the wheel of Christine and just finish the position behind her, or maybe 2 spots down. She can still get more points than Christine. So, I mean, she has all the cards in her hand, and she has to make a race knowing that.
Now we are seeing at the front here, it looks like Kirsty Hull showing up in support of Kristen Falk, actually, though. So there's definitely a battle going on here, it looks like, between Vixen and Vision. It does look like Team Fearless is out on course, as well as Team TFC with Carissa Min. Now, seeing Carissa out there does remind me, there was a cool competition, well, not a competition, but a drawing that took place here, and big announcement here coming from CVR World Cup. CVR World Cup announces that Louis Garnou is CVR World Cup clothing sponsor, and there's actually some swag winners that we're going to announce right now here on the broadcast, actually. So for the first 6 weeks, Carissa Min, Lindy Gray, Joanne Ganley, looks like Luke Grefte, Steve Engmo, Andy King, and England Rod are the winners in the swag giveaways. This week, CVR Cup gloves are up for grabs for this week. Each week, 1 male and 1 female from each zone are selected at random for swag. As each week of the season passes, more expensive swag is given out. So the league swag winners up to this point: Carissa Min got a cycling cap, Lindy Gray cycling cap, Joanne Ganley cycling cap, Luke Grefte got some long socks, CVR World Cup socks. It looks like Steve Engmo as well with some socks, Andy King and England Rod all getting CVR World Cup socks. So just participating, jump on in, and you are able to get in on that swag with the new sponsor, Louis Garnou. So congratulations to the winners of the swag from just participating in the races from each zone. So make sure you jump out there, get into the races. It's not just about the results in the live final, which is awesome, but it's also about the cool swag that you can get from CVR and the sponsors. So back in with the men's racing, though, it looks like we do have still a solid group. Now, we are in the London Loop here. Quentin, I know you race a lot out on Zwifts, you know, and you're very familiar with each one of these courses. When you think of this course specifically, what are you thinking about?
Well, I could tell you what I'm thinking about when I race this course, but I think it's a PG-13 channel, so I'm not gonna say it out loud. But but you know, these guys are going to go for the big and flat loop across the borders of the Thames, and then they are going to go to head to Box Hill, which is the part that I'm not supposed to talk about. But you know, it's a very long lap. I think it's about 20 kilometers, and pretty much flat for the first half, and then heading out to that climb, that very anticipated climb, and that's where separations happen. But the thing is, with that very long flat section, the group doesn't get too much separation and comes with a lot of speed into Box Hill. And usually you see from 5 to 10 guys at the top, and sometimes you even see a sprint finish at the end with 5, 6, 7 riders battling it out for the finish line. And not the separation we used to see on Box Hill, but it's still very hard to go away on yourself at the top of Box Hill because of that very fast descent where the group has such a big advantage.
Yeah, so what you're saying is a little calmer. You're thinking of a calmer race up front, not quite as many attacks, but Box Hill still going to be the deciding moments out on this race here. So a lot of the racers most likely thinking about what is coming up ahead here. Now, we do see Jay Herman up toward the front of the race here. Now, Herman, I believe, is still looking for approval. Am I incorrect about that?
Yeah.
Yes. Still looking for approval. But Drujan, I believe, this past week did jump outside with the power meter and was able to get his approval. So the boys and girls at Zara are now giving him the positive check mark in the racing now, so that's good to see. And looks like Ridholm here up toward the front from Sweden. Now, I'm getting a little feedback here from Fabian Rawiak. I probably got that name totally wrong, but says that I think he's got an issue with me calling that a falcon on the back. Now, what would you call that on the back of that jersey there? I mean, it's a bird's eye, correct? I mean,
I don't know. I would have to take a closer look.
We'll have to take a closer look here. Team PL, let's go ahead and take a quick little look here. Let's get it right and let us know.
Exactly.
Now, does Poland have a bird that they are very, attached to? Like, we have the American eagle. Right, we have the eagle in America, and if anybody were to say on the back of an American jersey it was a vulture or something, I think Americans would be like, dude, that's the
maybe
bald
that's
eagle.
A Polish pigeon or something.
So maybe I can get some correction here. Letters. It's the white eagle, guys. It's a white eagle, guys. Gotcha. So it is an eagle as well.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mick Woes. So we have a similar country affiliation with a bird over, actually. So cool to see the white eagle on the back there. Never been to Poland and don't have a lot of cultural education on their flag and their different Phoenix. Board pilot saying that it's a Phoenix now. I'm getting all these people saying, I'm not trusting anybody but Team PL. At this point, I don't have a clue. I'm not trusting anybody in anything they say except for Team PL. David Chris lets us know that it's an eagle. Okay, David, but he writes from WBR. No, he writes for ODZ now, but I've got no clue. Team PL, let me know. I'm not trusting what anybody says because I'm getting mixed messages and they're going to just mess with me is what's going to end up happening in this broadcast here. So Bruno Vieira here, PTZ up toward the front though. No eagles, vultures, or falcons on his back. We're just seeing Portugal represented up toward the front here with 162 beats per minute currently, as you can see. And it looks like things are fairly calm in the men's race, as you had predicted. Not too many attacks just yet. Here, and it also looks like in the women's race as well, though, Quentin, things are fairly calm here. as they are, it looks like about 3.8, about a mile behind the men here as they start about a minute later. And not too many attacks. Kristen, though, a lot of times will take off early on. But with Kirsten being there with her, perhaps going to play a little bit more team tactic today.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we see Kristin taking off usually in Box Hill. That she makes the separation where it's easier for her. Well, not easier might not be the word, but where it's most usual that you see separations. And on the hill, she usually goes faster than anyone else on course in the women's race. So, I mean, we are going to see her try to take off in Box Hill. And maybe she will, maybe she won't. But for now, it's all team tactics, team race with Vision, with Vixen, with Fearless and TFC. I mean, it's all Grupo Compacto, like you like to say. But yeah, we'll have to see in Box Hill who can go with Falk.
Great questions coming on through here from the peanut gallery, as we like to call it here. No, just kidding. So the Twitch channel as well as our Facebook, actually. Sean Casson, good to see you there. He said, why would you ride the Tron bike if you can't slipstream? Well, there is drafting actually on the Tron bike. Tron bike does have all the drafting features that the other bikes do have. So there's definitely drafting with the Tron bike. So definitely the riders are able to draft on that bike, but it's not the absolute fastest bike though in Zwift, as we definitely also have the and now we have found ourselves suddenly off at the back in the pens here. I am using the Zwift mobile link. We should be able to jump in, but the mobile link as well has lost all of the riders nearby. So now I think Anchor might be the only one who might be able to help us out here. He's out on course a little ways here and may be able to help us with getting back into the broadcast here as we do move forward with the rest of the riders. But yeah, it does have draft, just so you know. There is definitely drafting with the Tron bike. I think you may have that confused with the tri bike, the tri bike, excuse me, the TT bike, which is essentially the tri bike. So a lot of the cyclists out there, I like to call it the tri bike, but the TT bike is the only bike in game that you are unable to draft with. So do not use that in the races unless you think you can just get away and ride away from the rest of the pack. If you think you can just ride away from the rest of the pack, then go right ahead and go for it. If they are allowed in the race. CVR World Cup does not allow them. I do not believe they're allowed in the KISS crit races either. So TT bikes have been removed from a lot of the races so that riders cannot gain that type of advantage. And a lot of times when they were allowed in these races, there was a time when you couldn't remove the TT bike from the races. And even at that point, riders were still not using them because the drafting was so incredibly important. Board Pilot's calling it. He says Zhujian, Vang, and Fossheim. Thanks a lot, Board Pilot, for your prediction. Let me hear your predictions. We'll bring them on in. And cheers, Nathan. Just unlocked it, but thought it was a T bike. No problem, Sean. Nope, it's definitely the Tron bike is definitely just like all the other bikes except for the TT bike. Aaron Milligan. What is the fastest bike? There's actually thanks a lot for the question there as well. Keep them coming, questions and comments. We'll keep on answering them as we are in the calmer points of the broadcast. Also, as we try to find the race out there, as we are having a couple of hiccups here with our feeds. So great question. The fastest bike out on Zwift that you can gain right now is the Tron bike. So you make sure to do the climbing challenge to the Everesting challenge. In order to open up the challenges, you do need to go into your menu, and there's a little box that you have to open it up through, and you select the correct challenge. There's an Italy challenge, there's a California challenge, and there's an Everesting challenge. If you complete the Everesting challenge, you can get the Tron bike, and you have to climb 50,000 meters to do so. That is the fastest bike that is gainable in-game. Now, if you do have the Cervelo S5 and you were a beta tester, and in beta you unlocked the full disc 808 wheel, Zip 808, then the S5, Cervelo S5 with an 808 dish, full dish in the back. As the wheels are the things that impact things the most actually, then you have the absolute fastest bike, but it's only available currently to beta users actually who did unlock that. That's going on actually 3 years to this week since I started streaming Zwift and riding
I'm
on
not sure
beta.
about that. I would say the fastest bike is the one ridden by the winner of the race. I mean, that's the definition you want to look for.
Well, I agree with that. All things being equal between the rider's power output and speed and height and all those things, the fastest bike is the Cervelo S5 with an 808 Zip dish. But yes, the fastest bike is going to be the one that is ridden by the fastest rider out on Zwift. So no problem there, Aaron Milligan. Thanks a lot for the question. All right, let's jump back in with the women's race here as the men are heading on over toward Box Hill, and we will find their feed as quickly as we possibly can as we are jumping around a whole lot. 5 times Everest to unlock the Tron. Dave Ranson is saying over at the Facebook chat there. Thanks a lot, Dave. I appreciate the input there, buddy. So for the women, though, things fairly calm. Nothing really taken off yet. Elevere up toward the front here. PTZ representative 158 looks like calm and they're keeping things under wrap right now. Falk still following wheels 152. So what are we seeing from Falk here? Do we have a prediction that'll be similar? Does she tend to just walk away in these races when it starts going uphill, and or has anybody really been able to challenge her when she tries to get away in these CVR World Cup races?
Well, she usually walks away when it's starting to climb, but only 2 riders have been able to challenge her as of now in these races, and that was Rachel Elliott and Patricia Angerman. Otherwise, I don't think anyone has ever beaten Kristen in the CVR World Cup, at least. And I think that's also true in the Ecrit. But yeah, not a lot of riders can match the power she puts in the pedals on Box Hill.
Yeah, definitely strong climber, strong climber. Looks like both in real life and in game here. Now, with the men's race is starting to hit Box Hill, we were able to find them back again out on course here. So good to have our feed not jumping around any longer. We do see Kim Little here, tied currently for the series lead with Zhujian. Zhujian here trying to follow things up. Now, here's the thing. I think Mathieu may be put on the back foot today. He's not as strong as a climber as Kim Little, I believe, but I believe he does have a stronger sprint. Usually, we have seen in the past, though, Kim have a little bit of an upset, play things a little bit more tactically to the line, able to draft on him and take down the sprint at the actually on this specific world, maybe not on this specific course, but on this map, we have seen in the past a sprint, heads-up sprint between Little and Zhujian, where Little was able to draft perfectly on him and then take him down in the final moments. So we do see Herman here making his way to the front here, making things as fast as possible, it looks like here. Vander here, 5.4 watts per Kim. Kim Little following that very closely there, currently tied with 6,000. And 2 points for the lead there. Vang is there from the KRT team. It looks like petting their 181 beats per minute. Watch the heart rates rise here now. 167, 166 here coming from Kim Little. Vander now coming around. It looks like at 187 beats per minute. Really starting to rise on these heart rates. 8% gradient. This is when the gradient really kicks in. It's going to level off just a little bit. Usually, though, this is the point where the group starts to split. Bergholt here coming from the Vikings team. We've got Grabar, Zik here as well, coming from coming out of Poland, not for Team Poland, not in the kit, as you can see here. C. McDonald is there as well. Bovin now off the back, coming out of France. Paul's there from Belgium, 159 beats per minute race WBR. 5 seconds is the gap now, and we've got about 15 riders, it looks like, off the front. Matthew Joujon tied for first, 172 beats per minute. The screws are being turned at the front here. Commissar coming from Vision now also going. Vision and Force, actually, 3 riders at least making this front group. Quentin might have some inside information on that, as it looks like the riders are definitely out in support of Joujon. I'm not seeing quite as much support either from Team Experimental here, as Little seems isolated, but I think he can handle himself on the climbs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I do have some insight, but I won't talk about it just right now. But Kim had the support of Vanderbent on the flat section from for Team Experimental as well, but not a lot of riders maybe saving their energy for races in other zones. But for now, the group seems very compact, very together. And it's not the usual. I mean, it's climbing very fast, and still the group is very compact, and that's a little bit of a surprise. I gotta say.
Look at this, 187 beats per minute. Vane going off the front here. He's got a 1 second gap here. Unable to really open anything up there. 5% gradient that they're feeling currently. And it looks like he's just grinding 65 RPM. He's found that steady rhythm right now. And for those of you just tuning in, unfamiliar with what is going on right now, this is real riders on actual bikes right now, putting out real power into pedals in order to move these avatars forward. Currently, they're doing 17 miles per hour uphill and a 5% gradient. 21 minutes in to this effort. 577 feet of climbing, it looks like, so far here. 591 coming from Vander, it looks like, on the day. So that's from some of the warm-up, I would think, that they've had out on course here. Now, Vang here, still at the front here, just making things fast, but 188 beats per minute. Now, the final kick here before this right-hand turn, there's a little bit of a flatter section, and then a second kick before they hit the very top of Box Hill, and we'll see what the time is up on the top of Box Hill. And then you can see no data on my feed here for the current times within the event, because this will be the first riders over the line to see us what kind of time that they can set here. So Kim Little here, as you can see, 5.4 watts per kilogram. Vang there, 8.3. Herman, Szerzinski, Pettinger, Commissar, Chris Wonos is there as well. Matthew Joujon Tolbo is there too. So good to see them all hammering away. Now Herman now 7.2 with an attack up and over the top. Good to see that attack here. 166 beats per minute. Pettinger though 1 second back here. A little bit of a gap now opening up. They may allow Herman to go, as I do believe there's going to be a relegation on him today, perhaps. We'll have to see how that ends up. Now, we are not race organizers. We are only broadcasters, just calling out generally what takes place in the races. The community organized races, as they are... the authority on them are those who set those up. So CVR is going to be the authority on these races, and they do recognize what Zada does verify in the game. So just as an example, Herman is one example that we can take there that says he's produced over 5 watts per kilogram, or any rider that produces over 5 watts per kilogram for 20 minutes, or any rider that produces over 6 watts per kilogram for 5 minutes is tagged in zwiftpower.com, and then is asked for submittal of some real life data that backs up that you can produce that in real life. If they do produce that, then the rider does get a Zada badge approval with the community organization. So just want to reiterate, though, very well that this is not Zwift. The authority on these races is the community organizers that put them on, not Zwift specifically that brings those enforcements. So Vang here, KRT, though, it looks like going over the top now. They did follow Herm's attack. Now it looks like we've got quite a few Dale Bouts in there. I'd watch out for him. Race WBR, I heard you chatting a little bit about his sprint a little while back, Quentin. If he makes it for the sprint, he might be one that could take this down today and be an upset.
Exactly. Paul is a very fast rider, very tall rider as well, and that's what makes him a very good sprinter. He's got the power in the legs, and it surprised a lot of riders in the first round of CVR World Cup in Paris. And you never know if he can get over Box Hill with the front group. He can be one of the fastest riders in the sprint finish. Now, I mean, it's still a very big group. I mean, we got what 10, 15 riders. Yeah, 15 riders in the lead group. So, well, maybe not everyone is going to be in the rankings. I'm thinking about Johannes, who still has to get his validation, but that's still a very consistent group, and they are going to be very fast over the long flat section that's coming up right now. And I mean,
I think they're gone, though.
second
I mean,
time,
Trzynski is off the back here. Team
they're
Poland
gone.
has Trzynski in there, who tends to be a workhorse for them. And so it looks like Poland here with Krzywonos, who is sitting in third place. A lot of interest for them, I think, to assist anybody that they can to keep Krzywonos high in the rankings, but at the same time, like you were saying, they might have an interest in Żużon or Little being the one who ends up in the final. So we'll have to see if Team Poland does work with one of the other riders out there actually to get the best result that they're looking for, to have Krzywonos battling it out with who they want in the head-to-head for that second place. Second and third, again, we'll be battling it out in the postseason for the final spot to the CVR World Cup final in Los Angeles. So for the women's race, though, we do have them hitting Box Hill, and it does look like, as you said, Kristen Falk off the front there, but she's got another Vision rider in tow here. Interesting to see. Kirsty, and I think she may be purposely not dropping her off. Kirsty just holding onto the wheel there, and having that rider along with her is going to open up a huge gap, actually. And if Kirsty goes along with it, she can put some room between her and Carrie in the points, because Kirsty will take down that second place and take some points away from Carrie Koneberg there from Vixen. And if the Vixen rider Carrie cannot take down Elvira out there, or Engbo, who's sitting on their wheel, there's some points on the line here that might change some things up going into the final races, Quentin. I mean, this is definitely a tactical move here coming from Vision to bring one rider with.
This is a very tactical move, and as we saw last week, the Vision girls are very, very much working together. Even when one is missing, the other one always got a back. And I mean, Christine and Kirsty here are very much working together, and they know that they have to put as much room as they can between Christine and Carrie Conaber a few ways back. And I mean, that's a very good move on their part. You have to gain as much points as you want, as you can, if you want to get to that first position. And yeah, it's still a very fast time at Box Hill. But
7:28, solid result there up over the top box here.
Very solid. And I mean, there are going to be two of them in the long flat section, and that's a very good advantage. Very good advantage. And you can be sure that they are talking to each other, letting them know how the other one feel, and all that stuff that that you usually do on the bike, on the road. It might be a little bit harder on Zwift to do so, but still possible, and you can be sure that these two girls are doing just that.
Now, we do see Veer here along with Koneberg Ingmo in chase, but it is a full minute and 2 seconds at this point, so it looks like it's a battle here for third place. Veer now 1.4 watts per kilogram. Koneberg sitting on the wheel there, 3.1. Ingmo is still in there as well. Two PTZ riders, actually, versus the Vixen rider here. And PTZ may be looking to grab some spots here as well, as Veer Angmo, we're seeing Asperheim not too far back as well, you can see. So 28 seconds. Now, actually only 15 seconds here to Asperheim. Carissa Min is there, 16 seconds back too. So definitely some threats here working together to try and bring some points back from the Vixen rider, Carrie Conenberg. So she's going to have her work cut out for her. 111 RPM. You see her spinning to win here for sure. 5.4 watts per gram, maybe trying to drop some of them off and get into her own TT type situation now to try and get away. She doesn't want to race for third against anybody else. She wants to solo away for third right now. Now we're seeing the attack here from Carrie. This is actually, I think, a serious move here. 5 watts per kilogram consistently here. Anglo now 4.6, trying to chase that down. It's a 1 second gap, no. And now if this is not closed down immediately over the top, the speed will go up and that time will increase. So Veer here 4.0, Anglo 5.0, Asperheim 7 seconds back now. But there is a reality. I forgot about this. Veer, Angmo, I might be miscalling this. They are B riders, and they cannot take any points actually from Carrie, can they?
Yeah, I think so too. I have to check that very quickly. But Veer and Angmo are both in the B bracket, so they can't take any points away from Carrie. But Carrie has to come back and take back a little bit of time if she wants to maybe catch Kirsty if she gets dropped in the second climb of Box Hill. That's still possible as well. But
that'd be the only way I think that she could get within striking distance there for the points. Now, looking at the current point situation for the women, we do have, it looks like, go ahead and open up the situation for the women's E zone here. And Carrie Conenberg currently 5,004 points. Kristen Falk there 4,998 points. Now, what is the difference between a first and a third place, Quentin, in the CVR World Cup?
4 points.
It's 4 points. It's 4 points. 2 points per place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
and that's +1 for Carrie in the end, because if she streams right now, she gets 5 bonus points. So if she comes in third, and if Kristen wins, Carrie still gets 1 more point than Kristen does. So it's still a win. It's still a winning position for Carrie here.
So all she needs to do then, it looks like, is hold off Anna Barbado, actually, who is actually the series leader right now, who has 6 weeks of racing. And Carrie did miss 1 week, it looks like. So Anna, chasing this down here, looking for some extra points, but is probably going to be unseated from that top spot by Carrie and Kristen in the over. Now, Kristen, though, is going to be watching out for Anna, I think, for that battle between second and third place in the postseason, as it is a head-to-head situation between second and third. So Anna Barbado is going to have to take on Kristen Falk here. I have a feeling we're going to see a whole lot of PTZ riders out on course looking to support Anna on that battle. But it's going to be a tough one, as Kristen has been walking away every single race here. 5.4 watts per kilogram. Kirsty there as well. They're just entering in the chase here to the underground. They're just exiting the uphill grind out over the top of those escalators here. So Kirsty here leading things out for Kristen. Looks like she's feeling pretty good. Willing to do some work and open up a gap here between them and the chase group. Chase group 56 seconds back in the women's race. We're going to see if we can find the front end of the men's race again, as we did lose them momentarily. And I've got no riders nearby here either on the Zwift mobile link here, so we'll have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, the guys are just going up they are going up Trafalgar Square right now, and it's still pretty much Gruppo Compacto at the moment. You have the usual acceleration that you see on that little bit of a climb, and maybe Kim Little in a little bit of difficulty. Maybe he was not so much focused. He's come back in the group, but just a little bit on the back foot.
So he was actually off the back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Little was actually off the back momentarily.
Yeah, 5 or 6 meters off the back. and but he came back pretty quickly. But still, that was maybe a misfocus or something on his part. I didn't see any dropout, so I doubt that that was the problem. But I mean, everything is all together now, and I mean the next rider is almost a minute behind. So these first 15 are going to be the first 15 on the line.
Yeah, it looks like the Box Hill though still ahead there, Quentin.
Yeah,
Second
but
time up on the top. I think we might see some crazy times up on the top of Box Hill here.
Yeah, we're going to see some crazy times, but these 15 guys are maybe the strongest ones. And even if some of them might be a little bit tired from the first one, they have a lot of time to recover before Box Hill, and they will be fresh starting the second climb. So, well, fresh-ish, but still, I mean, 50 seconds and now a minute over the next group is still a very large advantage. So, I mean, I don't see anyone trying to attack. You have a couple of teams represented here. KRT with one raider, Team Poland with two, Experimental with Kim Little, maybe Paul Hopkins trying to give a hand to his IRL teammate in that front group as well, and the three Vision riders. And yeah, then it's pretty much all individual rider. Paul Delabou from WBR, Pettinger from NTCT, and then it's Swart, Talbot, Vander, and Berkhold from the Vikings team. But yeah, all team games right now, and trying to look at each other and see who's got what it takes to take it away in the last climb of Box Hill.
So we do have some questions coming on through here. Alison Kubota coming through. The Duck is in the house saying, is Hull and Falk off the front? Yes, Hull, Kristen Falk and Kirsty Hull off the front here. Both riding out in Norway. Do you know if these riders know each other in real life as well, Quentin, and ride with each other at all?
I think they do know each other in real life. I don't know if they ride together, but I think they do know each other. They might have met in some races or rides up in Norway.
Gotcha. So maybe knowing each other in real life, now riding with each other in game here to try and take down the Series 4 Kristen there. Moving forward in the men's race here, we have had a little bit of jump around. I think it is because we are out on the flatter sections of London, which tend to be the most popular sections out on London. And we have a lot of other avatars that do get mixed into the mix here. So we'll see if we can stop having some jump arounds and connection issues to the race here. As soon as we do, we will get back in with the men's race as well. But 143 back here, Carrie Conabear here, still on the chase here, currently setting herself up to take over the series lead. Only 20 seconds back here. This is an interesting story unfolding in this race here, as Asperheim and Min have kept them within striking distance. And I know Carissa does have some climbing legs, might be able to bring them back into the fold here and battle it out. Now, I'm not sure she'll have the sprint to the line, but with PTZ in there with two riders, then Fearless and TFC, it's going to be Carrie Conabear a little bit singled out maybe at that point, and some riders trying to grab some points perhaps. Now, Barbada, though, off the back, though, PTZ 28 seconds back from this chase group, probably not going to find herself back in with Carrie at the front end of this race again, as she has been dropped off by Asperheim and Mint here. And it's looking through here. We got a question actually coming in from Christopher Zek, and I'm not going to answer it directly outside of, if you are interested in streaming and the general streaming of Zwift or Zwift running, Zwift cycling, you can join the Zwift community live streamers group. Make sure when you join the group, I have so many people asking to join the group that didn't take the time to answer the question. What streaming platform do you stream to? YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, there's Mixer. There's a lot of different streaming platforms out there. Answer the question to get into the group. The question's also kind of just there for as a little bit of like, what's the password a little bit, because you get all kinds of accounts out there spamming into groups, looking to get in there as much as they possibly can. And it's a good group for technical support, learning more about streaming the Zwift game, and hanging out amongst the community in the streaming community. So make sure to jump on over there to that group and get out there streaming. Let us know if you're streaming as well here at ZCL. We'd love to help you out. There's lots of streaming softwares out there. OBS, vMix, as you know, there's tons and tons of them out there, and lots of YouTube videos with examples about how to get going. But make sure you jump into the group, and you'll get some support from some Zwift, some specific people for that. Frank Deal joining up to the Zwift community live streaming. Just got the notification, Frank. The tank is going to start live streaming. The tank is going to be out there. That'd be awesome. But good to see he's taken the initiative right off the bat here from the broadcast. Good to see. So looking through some of the chat here, we are seeing Johan Wallstrom saying 5:51, 5:42 for the leader. Adam Zim thinks is going to be over the time. KM second time times. I say faster. 5:45. CS Tricks is saying. And so let's hear your prediction. Adam Zimmerman, current leader in the eCred, actually, for the East. It's good to see him jumping into the broadcast here. He says it's going to be a 5:42. Johan Wallstrom saying a 5:51. Casey Shum is in here as well, 5:45. Racing Mark says 6:35 for the D leader. 6:10. Doffin Williams, I refuse to believe anything faster is possible. Doffin is in the house. He thinks they're going to go slower. We'll have to see how it ends up playing out here. Now, they are finishing up their Greater London Flat course here, and they're going to be taking a right-hand turn in just a moment. We are seeing Vang here with a little bit of attack. 1 second back here. Schwartz here as well. Commissar we're seeing from Vision. Vision does have the number still here. Now, Zrujan. Now, when you're out on course and you're trying to win a race, are you thinking about how many of your teammates came with you?
Yeah, always. You always need the support, whether it's just mental or actual support and people trying to chase other guys trying to attack you, and that's what we're seeing now. Veng is actively trying to get away from the peloton. He put a first attack and then the second. That might be third. Third times he goes into the 10 watt per kilograms on that flat section. So he wants to create some separation before the climb, and behind him, it's always Piotr. No, it's not Piotr. It's Truzinski trying to make the group come back. And now it's Talbot who was the first one to come back on Vang. But Berghold and Commissar bringing back Drujon to the front of the race. And it's now pretty much all back together. I think... Yeah, Ehrman was a little bit on the back foot, but he's going to come back. And still pretty much Gruppo Compacto again. And they will start to look at each other again. Maybe to the start of the hill, but we saw Veng trying to get away. And that was maybe a little bit of a surprise, because you don't usually see that, but he might have tried to take some surprise effect to that peloton, I think.
Looks like we are able to get back into the front of the race, and it's just as we do, another dimension, Black Hole, comes in and removes the riders from our point of view. Let's just have some fun with it here as we try to get back in with the racers. We're going to have to wait until they decide to come back from another dimension. We attempted to have our Zwift Mobile Link help us out here, but it looks like Zwift Mobile Link only shows me what I actually have in game as well. So it doesn't actually give me the ability to jump forward too well unless I do leave the event. Now, if I could leave the event from the mobile link, actually, then that would help and stay on the rider. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, though. I don't believe I can leave the event and stay on the rider at the same time here. If I could do that, then I would most likely be able to leave the game here, and then jump back in with riders that I do follow here. Now, Tex Divine is in the house here, it looks like, and then my mobile link also went ahead and crashed. Yeah. So let's get back in with the women here. We'll wait for the riders to jump back on to the feed here in just a moment here. But Christian Falk, you're still at the front. Looks like these riders calm down at this point and are waiting for the next time up on the top to open up even more of a gap here, Quentin. Probably just going to be a team time trial for these two, and Kirsty grabbing that second place. I would assume no battle for that first at all coming from Kirsty.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there is still the possibility that that Christian would maybe not give up, but maybe if she knows that Carrie Conabear still wins more points than she does in that race, maybe she's going to just let Kirsty get the win, because if Carrie gets 5 points and still get third, you know she's going to get more points than you do, when there's no point in maybe not sharing the win with your teammate. I mean, if she knows she's going to come in second at the end of the day in the general classification, she can still. I mean, any of the two can take the win. It's going to come down to maybe if they want to battle it out. I mean, you never know. Maybe they want to have some fun trying to sprint against one another in the end.
We are seeing a question come on through here as Ryan Corliss is saying, Zwift Community Live, this is related to what you're talking about here, Quentin. Are team riders who are not in the bracket allowed to join the event and help? Yes. Now, Kirsty is in the bracket. Anybody can join any race. You can show up with your team. You can show up full force. There are no team limits either. So you got 50 riders on your team that are willing to show up and help. Show on up. Help out with the race out on the course there. So also another one coming on through here. Hoppy Marina's in the house. Paul, go on, Kim. Unleash the Hulk Fury. And the Lip is saying, why, when watching, do some riders have smooth power and cadence readings and others seem to jump really erratically? The Lip, I think that has to do, this is a great question. When I use a strain gauge power meter, I bounce all over the place because it's immediacy on the power rating from what I'm putting out at that moment. It's a second by second reading. On a smart trainer, you're going to see things a little bit smoother from the riders, especially when they have a consistent pedal stroke going on from their, as well as a consistent force against them at the time. A lot of times that will be because it is a strain gauge power meter or a smart trainer, and a smart trainer tends to, not all smart trainers are the same. All the super hyper nerdy want to get on me, code. Everybody out there that want to get on me about this, right? Like, what about this one and that one? In general, smart trainers are going to give a smoother power curve that that has nothing to do with accuracy. It has nothing to do with accuracy, nothing to do with which one's better. It just, I would actually personally, now this is a personal opinion, I prefer strain gauge power meters. They tend to be more accurate, and I like an immediacy of reading from what I'm putting out from my legs at that moment, and not a second time removed, depending on what smart trainer you have again. Neo, different situation, not second time removed as well. So they're all so different, but that would tend to be why you see that lip, just so you know. So back in with the women's racing, we do see the situation here as the leader here with Kristen Falk as well as Kirsty Ho off the front here, still 141 up. But in the men's race, the attacks are starting up on the top of Box Hill, and Kim Little is unleashing the Hulk here. Herman's off the front here by 12 seconds. Drujan following closely, though. This is the tied for first right now. Kim Little, Matthew Drujan, Burkholt here, 5.3 watts per kilogram. Vander there as well. Tolbo there, trying to follow things up. It's the top 5 that we're looking at right now. Pettinger there is now coming from MTCT, right on the wheel, 6th place currently. Vang there from KRT, trying to hang on 4 seconds back, though. Szerzynski not going to be able to help out his team. Where's Kruzwonos, though? Kruzwonos is off the back. Team Poland, they're going to have to do something here. They got to bring Marcin back into this race. Now, he's kind of untouchable at this point. Maybe not really caring. You think that that it just doesn't matter anymore for Kruzwonos? He can just show up and race however he likes, Quinton, but he just seems to be letting it go.
No, I think he's just out of gas right now. When you race, and you come to the last climb, you don't care about who's in front and who's behind. You just care about being in the best position that you can be. And now we see Bergholt coming back to the leading duo. Maybe kind of a referee in that duel, and they are starting to look at each other a little bit right now. Kim and Matthew, and maybe they are already waiting for the sprint. I mean, Box Hill is maybe well, they still have 3-4 riders 2 seconds back. So we might have a group of 7 coming over the top of Box Hill and heading to the sprint. And they know they can't get away maybe with 1 or 2 riders, because that group behind is going to have such an advantage in speed in the descent. And they are going to be caught anyway by that group. And maybe they're just trying to save
Look at
some energy
Szerzynski, though.
right now.
Look at Szerzynski, though, Quinton. No man's land,
Yeah.
6 seconds back. He's got to put in a serious effort. And with Drujon on the front here, driving the pace. Kim Little here. Now, another attack. I know he's still got about 10 beats in his legs here, in his heart here, to try and get away. This is another attack over the top. 5:51 the last time they saw over the top here. These attacks, they're going to have a crazy time. I don't think he's going to slow down from here to the top of the climb here at this point. 5.4 plus, I think, is what we're seeing from Kim Little here. 5.5 now. Drujan right on that wheel. Burkholt there. Vang still hanging in just barely, but it's a 1 second gap. This might be, you think it's going to come back together, though? It sounds like you think they're going to calm down and it's going to come back together.
I think, well, maybe not so much right now, because I think now whichever group is going to have that is going to have the more rider is going to get away in the descent. So if there is 3, 4, 5 riders in the front, they are going to get away from the other 2 and from the groups behind. And
now Vang
right
has
now
the cheering coming in here. Looks like for KRT. Definitely calling out, it looks like, coming from Room Carlson, saying, let's go Vang, from the Vikings team here. So Vikings got some cheering squad out there. Now, it doesn't matter for the series overall, though. And you're saying it's power in numbers, though, out on course here on the downhill.
Exactly. In the descent, it's always power in the numbers. In the climbs, it's the watts per kilogram. On the flat, it's the pure watts. And in the descent, it's the numbers. It's maybe not as simple as that, but kind of close to that.
Drujan now countering Kim here. Now again, 4.6 watts per kilogram. Burkholt here. Danish Power we see coming through in the chat, actually. Let's go Danish Power. Cheering him on here. We've got 1 with Kim Little, currently tied for first place. Burkholt is in there. Number 2, rider we are seeing Vang here now coming through for the front. That's 3. Drujan in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kim Little still in there. Pettinger off the back. Tolbo trying to chase him down. Not going to happen. Vander is in there as well. 6 riders total over the top of Box Hill. One more climb. They've got this last kicker over the top here, but this really matters. Anybody who's on the edge at this point, Quentin, will fall off if it's a serious attack over the top. You think we're going to see one? I think we might see somebody give a dig.
Yeah, we are going to see somebody try to get away. Maybe one of the heavier rider who think maybe he's got a shot at getting away in the descent. But to get away in that kind of downhill, you have to put a serious attack and maybe have some kind of continuance in at the beginning of the downhill.
It's what we like to call the Allenby.
Right now,
the Allenby. The Allenby attack up and over the top.
But to do an Allenby, you need the Aero hat, and I don't think any of them has that.
For what Quentin is talking about, no power-ups allowed in the CVR World Cup races here. So no power-ups. There are no arrow hats in the race right now at all. 6:03 still makes me feel inadequate. Frank the Tank is saying Kim did a 6:03 up the climb. So good call there coming from Daffod. He was only off. He was just off a little bit. Daffod Williams said Allenby had endless supply of arrow hats. That dude seemed to have the best RNG in the game ever. Somebody was calling hackers, I think, I'm on him at one point there. But amazing attacks we've seen from Allenby over the top of Box Hill. A lot of times he would take a ton of speed with a sprint and then throw down that arrow power up and walk away from everybody by about 30 seconds. Being a rider who I think he weighed somewhere into 70, I want to say he weighed somewhere in the 70 to 75 kg. And so a little bit heavier, but big power coming from him. Super time trial specialist. And he would, that's the kind of rider that can get over the top of Box Hill and attack on that downhill with an arrow power. Now, we're not seeing that in this race, though. We're seeing Vang off the front with Vander, Kim Little, Matthew Jujon, and Burkholt. Looks like it's going to be a 5-up sprint. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 5 riders in this lead group for the W out here. We do see Herman off the front. Will most likely get relegated. We're going to leave that alone then for now, as we'll see. I mean, solid effort to him. We're going to give him the ride on. Good effort out there, and he's going to get an amazing workout out there. But until he does show the numbers are able to be produced, he will be most likely relegated from the race here. 3.5 watts per gram, Kim Little now 136 beats per minute. Look at that efficiency factor. Immediately comes right back down with that heart rate, rests it right on up. He looks like he's ready for a sprint. Where's his main competition? Drujon at 140 beats per minute. Both these riders able to recover so incredibly quickly on this downhill. It's almost like the sprint that they're going to have is assisted from Vang, from KRT here, as well as Burkholt here. Vander in there as well. But is there going to be an upset? There's points on the line, and these riders are looking to grab them as well. This might be a situation where some of the other riders grab these points from Kim or Drujon and end up making it so that they disrupt the final for the standings if they do grab those points from them. What kind of situation do we have to see from these riders? I mean, you said that, I think before we started this broadcast, you said that Drujon cannot gain as many points as Kim right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. Drujon cannot, well, if he wins, he will get more points than Kim. Maybe at least 1 more point. I mean, he can win 9 points.
So what Quentin is getting at, you guys, what Quentin is saying is that Kim can gain 1 more point than Drujon can because he has won a race that is one worse than his. Right? So it's because it's a best of situation. So Kim can gain more than Drujon can by getting a W out there today. But he's got to get that W. He's got to still out sprint Drujon to the line is what he's getting at there. So Kim here now setting up 4.3. Vang out. No attacks were able to get away. Still 5 up. And Drujon's on the back. Now he's been outsmarted in this final here. You think he's going to let that happen again?
I don't think he is going to let that happen again. Mathieu is a very experienced sprinter. He knows how it's done. He's been a World Tour rider just a couple of years ago, so I think he knows how to sprint. He got taught a lesson a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think he's forgotten that.
He got taught a lesson. Kim Little, the teacher, out on course here, letting everybody know the professor of Zwift racing is going to be Kim Little today, coming from Team Experimental. We'll see if he can teach the lessons today or if it's going to be Drujon at the chalkboard. We'll have to see who's going to be doing the writing here on the wall. Drujon now making his way to the front, 157 beats per minute, now 202 or so. Herman now off the front, 46. He's going to take the unofficial across the line, but most likely be relegated there. Wengler 3.8 starting to lead things out. Wonder if there's been any communication between these riders to try and help one out over another, or if everybody's just out there for themselves. Is it every man for himself out there for this sprint, or is anybody going to help out? Zhujan still sit on the back, 5.7 watts per kilogram. BB going to get caught out a little bit here. 12 watts per kilogram from Vang. There's a full-on 5 bike length ahead. Vang's going 10 watts per kilogram. Here comes Kim Little now, 15 watts per kilogram. Zhujan is being caught out. Kim Little is gone. It looks like a full-on 1 second. It looks like Zhujan was at the back and might not be able to close it down, but still 13 watts per kilogram. Zhujan still has a kick. Is he going to be able to close it down? It's going to come right down to it, but Kim Little looks to have timed it perfectly and grabs the W. 1 point. 1 point, Quentin. It looks like it's 1 point, and that's the difference. Oh my goodness, what a sprint from Kim Little there to the line, grabs the W. And how many weeks are we in? This is week 7 of 8?
Is
that what we're at?
Yes, that's week 7. And yeah, I mean, that's 2 points of advantage for Kim over Matthew now in the rankings.
So it looks like
that means a lot for the GC. I mean, it's 60-18 for Kim and 60-16 for Matthew. So it's all going to come down next week. And
it all comes down to next week. One race to win them all. Here we go. So what's gonna happen next week? Little versus Zhujan for the overalls. What amazing sprint there. Well timed. Kim Little, solid effort there coming from him. And it looks like he went out and grabbed that W. Zhujan now caught out. He was trying to play it maybe too smart, and the professor showed up, showed him how to write in that chalkboard. The writing was on the wall well before we even hit the 200-meter mark as he kicked very early. Zhujan had to come through about 5 bike lengths, it looked like there, even to close anything down. He was on the wrong wheel, it looked like, going into the last 300 meters. If he was on Kim's wheel and then kicked like that, it would have been a different story, but he was on a different wheel. The other riders were not able to match the kind of kick that Kim Little was able to put out on the course. Hulk smashed. He made it happen and took down that final sprint there. What an amazing happy Kim Little saying in the chat there. Amazing result there coming from Kim Little. Nathan just did the Ric Flair. Woo! Hanson Brooks, thanks a lot, man. Wow, now that's what I'm talking about coming on through from Paul Hopkins. Look at all the reactions here over at our social media here, and it looks like Anson coming on through here with a Ric Flair woo. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Paul Hopkins coming on through. We're seeing Allison the Duck is in the house here with a big old wow. Round work saying nicely done. Rune Carlson letting us know that Vang's his friend, and well, tell Vang to time that sprint a little bit better there. And yep, we're getting back in with the ladies race. BJ Alfonso, we'll get you right on here on the live productions. Make sure to come on over and we'll give you the controls. And here we go with the live situation coming from the ladies race as we are seeing Kristen Falk here, 4.2 watts per kilogram. Now off the front here, 18 seconds over the top of Kirsty now. Actually, no love lost between them, it looks like here, as Kirsty, most likely unable to hold on the wheel any longer, said, go ahead, Kristen, take it down. I think I can hold these ladies off that are on the chase. But Veer here from PTZ, but a B rider here, 4.1 or 3.1 watts per kilogram, looking for that upgrade, though it looks like, as she is starting to battle it out with some of the top women here in the A category. How do you upgrade in the CVR World Cup League, Quentin?
Well, it's pretty easy to upgrade. It happens once per season, and you have to finish in the top 2 position or in the top 5%, whichever one is bigger. But yeah, you finish in the top positions in your bracket, you upgrade. You finish in the bottom positions, you downgrade. and that's how it works in other sports divisions. And you can do easier than that.
So, is it automatic? Do you have to apply? How does that work?
No, it's automatic. When you finish at the top of your bracket,
At the end of the season,
top two
or
at the end of
how
the
many?
season, yeah.
Okay,
At the end of the season, when you're at the top, you upgrade for the next season.
I see. Gotcha. So at the end of this season, we're gonna see this A bracket really starting to fill up. It looks like
Exactly.
for a lot of these women, the top 5% here going to be getting some upgrades there. Carrie Kronenberg going to have some more competition, as Veer is already letting her know that she's going to be a force to be reckoned with within that A bracket here. 3.8 watts per kilogram coming from Veer from that PTZ team here. Now Falk now 7.0 watts per kilogram, as you can see, 168 beats per minute. Kirsty Hole now up over the top there, 728, solid time still here. And it looks like 813 coming from Kronenberg there. Barbado there now 841, as you can see. Now I am in the women's A event. Now I can see the B event riders, but I cannot see their times, I believe, up and over the top of the climb here. So I will not be able to see the times from Veer or the rest of the riders. But it looks like Veer's having a solid ride right now. 1.5 watts per kilogram right now. Looks like she was really going for that time, actually, as she kicked it at the end there. But looks like 1.0 now, resting up a little bit. Carrie now about to cross the line here, and we'll see if she's got a better time than the last time around. 8:13 for that KOM. 154 beats per minute, though. That's not very high for Carrie. I think she's taking a little bit easier at this point.
Yeah, well, when you know where you're gonna finish, when there's nobody around, not in front, not behind you, you tend to push maybe a little bit softer. You tend to go a little bit soft on the pedals, and well, there is no point in hurting yourself when you know where you're gonna finish, especially at the end of the race. And when there's nothing on the line, you just don't push as hard as you would.
And that definitely is one of the testaments to this program, Zwift, and the racing out on Zwift. You push yourselves. There is a psychological aspect to this that you can't get anywhere else. And pushing yourself in the chasing of these pixels from your house or from wherever you're riding out on Zwift, locked into the trainer, nothing but the power in your legs, pushing this out and having to chase this down. You can definitely see the battles going on and the heart rates. I see pro riders jumping out on here all the time saying new max heart rate set from my garage. New max heart rate. We're talking UCI pros who get pushed to their max in UCI races, and they show up out on Zwift and go, well, there's a new max heart rate. I mean, there's a psychological aspect to it that you can't really get many other places, that's for sure. We are seeing Muldoon here and a couple of cheering on the Vixen riders actually here. Jessica York, good to see her tuning into the broadcast here. It looks like cheering on Muldoon as well as Styler. They're riding for that Vixen team in their red, black and white elite kits out there. So good to see them hammering away and working together to try and hold off the Fearless rider here, as well as Gemma Anchors now from the D category. I believe Gemma was leading that category, but Styler now showing up here and looking to take down that top spot in that D category. She might be getting an upgrade, though, as we are seeing pushing up in that 3.2 pretty consistently here. Styler might be getting an upgrade sooner than later here. But Carissa here trying to hang on to Asperheim's wheel. Actually, no, breaking away from Asperheim here. Solid result here, it looks like, for Carissa. Min, TFC, the admin not settling down, is actually starting to go off the front. But it looks like Carrie here with 7.1 watts per kilogram trying to chase down Veer still at that 3.1 watts per kilogram off the front from her. Up in that 38 miles per hour on that Orange Tron bike here. Veer now still kicking up into 37.38 here. Kirsty Hole here off the back, it looks like, from her teammate Kristen Falk. Kristen Falk still walking away with this one. 145 beats per minute. Pretty chill at this point. Is she waiting up, perhaps? Or just saying, I don't need to put out much more than this?
Yeah, same as Carrie. I mean, once the race is done, you don't need to hurt yourself more than required. So, I mean, she already did a very good team time trial all race long. So now she's just enjoying the win and taking it to the finish line.
Looking through here, and we do see whole here now, 3.1 watts per kilogram now. Pretty chill. And as you were saying, I think everybody kind of knows. Well, actually, it looks like Kirsty's pushing herself. 170 beats per minute. Looking for that effort, it looks like, still. And maybe trying to chase down her teammate a little bit here, and a little bit extra motivation here from Kirsty just to get a solid workout in. And, you know, I've always had that. Trying, you know, just you never want the gap to be too big. You always trying to prove a little bit of something, especially when you're out on the live broadcast there. 172 beats per minute here coming from Kirsty, riding right now out of Norway, hammering away 173 now. Kristen not waiting up though. It looks like 150. It looks like beats per minute, 3.5 watts per kilogram. Carrie Kronenberg trying to chase down Veer though. This is a battle. Actually, still. Now, the points aren't on the line here, really. It's just a battle for kudos. It's a battle for pride now at this point, as you can see. And Kronenberg there, 7 seconds back. She might be able to catch her, but Veer kicks it every once in a while, lets her know she's still got the power there, and you're not coming back. And that's the funny thing about on Zwift. You can see the watts per kilogram. You can see the heart rates. You can see the efforts that are being put out by the other riders and whether or not they've got anything left. And you can actually kind of flex the muscles a little bit there and say, nope, sorry, I got a kick still. You're not coming back. And every once in a while, you just let them know, no, I got 5 watts per kilogram when they're dying at 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever it is that they can hold steadily. And then you just hold that steady and say, nah, here you go. There's a little flex. There's a little flex. You're not catching me. It looks like Veer might be doing a little bit of that, but Carrie here now flexing her muscles a little bit. You can see her 8 watts per kilogram, actually. She might come over the top with some speed and let Veer know that she is right on her wheel. Don't rest up too much there, Veer, as we've got Vixen chasing you down. PTZ versus Vixen here to the line. Kristen Falk here just about to cross the finish line, though. As we can see, 42 seconds back. Kirsty Hull here now, as you can see from Vision as well. But 154 beats per minute. Going to cross the line, hands in the air. Lots of time to celebrate the victory here for Kristen Falk across the line. Going to be winning this overall. It looks like pretty handily now. Now looking at the overall series situation, she's going to have her 6th race in and will overtake Anna Barbado. But no, excuse me, Carrie Kronenberg, though, because of her streaming, is actually going to hold on to first place as long as she gets across the finish line here.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard now that she is almost across the line. I mean, except if she has a big technical, which wouldn't be good. I mean, but she's going to come across the line and get her points, and she's going to take the lead in the series. And well, it seems that it's going to stay that way next week, but you never know. I mean, things can happen, and well, still 1 week left for the women to decide who's first, who's second, and who's third.
Yeah, that's right. And so looking through here, Veer, though, you know, the next season, as we get more and more qualifiers, both in the men's and the women's, to get them into the next bracket up, it's going to be interesting to see as we get more in there and more competition to push each other and, you know, have a little bit more fluctuation, I think, in the points between them there. But Carrie here going to be taking it down, it looks like here. 3rd place finish, but it's just to get across the line, grab the points that she needs, and take the overall here. But the battle between her and Anna, I think, will be the interesting one in the 2nd and 3rd place coming up here after week 8 is done. But there is still one more to go. Anything can happen there. I think Carrie has it locked down, though. I don't think anything can happen outside of Carrie taking the overall, though.
Yeah, it seems pretty much a given now. Kerry is going to have 6,014 points, and Christine is at 6,005. Okay. So it's pretty much done by now, I think.
And we are seeing a sprint come to the line between Asperheim and Min, actually. And Carissa Min here to the line, up and out of the saddle. Chris, oh my goodness, it was so close there, actually. But Carissa, up and out of the saddle with about 8-9 watts per kilogram. Last week, she didn't time it correctly. This week, a little bit different story that we are seeing there. And she is able, it looks like, to take down that sprint, as you can see here, right to the line. As it looks like Asperheim and Carissa there crossing the line. And just, well, not just yet, but in the replay there, was Asperheim leading it out. Carissa there last second, come right around and timed it perfectly there. 10 watts per kilogram, takes the W. Not the W, but takes the win in the sprint there in that B category. Veer did take the win.
Actually, she took the W because the one thing is that Louisa Veer, well, it's still a registration thing, but it seems like the name that she used didn't match the one she used to register. But yeah, I mean, she still gets the win technically, but I mean,
she needs to register though with a real life name, is what you're saying.
She needs to register with the same name that she uses in Zwift for racing. That's why you see Paul Hopkins, for example, riding as Paul Hopkins for the CVR when he is OP Merida the rest of the races. And that's because of that registration thing. And well, technically, Carissa is going to take this one for the B bracket, even if she knows that Louisa Veer won on the bike.
Understood. Thanks for that information there. Appreciate that. Very helpful, actually. Now, I was going to try and end on one of the best avatars, I think, in game to end on for the for the names out there. I did see a Miss Rupert out on course there, and we'll see if we can jump out to that. But we do have a couple more coming to the line here. Styler now with Muldoon for Vixen. Let's go ahead and watch the sprint as it does unfold here. This will be interesting to see as Styler and Muldoon, both on the same team here. Vixens, Foxes going fast, and we'll see if they battle it out or if Muldoon will let Styler take it. It looks like Styler has been kind of doing most of the work here from what I've seen so far, Quentin.
Yeah, well, the thing is they are in two different brackets, and I mean, they are both going to take the win in their bracket. Muldoon in the C and Styler in the D. So they're most likely going to cross the line, both waving the arms in the air, as we say. And it might be team celebration at this point.
Maybe we'll have to see, depending. I don't know. I mean, if I come to the line with my teammate, there's nothing else on the line. You're not winning, Quentin. I'm just going to take it down. We're just going to the line, full on. No joking. No messing around. Full on.
Yeah, you're not taking me in a sprint.
Listen. Oh, it's on now. It's on now. Quentin says, I'm not taking him in a sprint. Oh, boy. This is going to have to be live broadcast. Sprint efforts out on Zwift
Sprint
here.
challenge.
Tune in next week. QVN, here we go. Now, Styler now to the line, it looks like. Still leading things up. And Muldoon not letting it happen, it looks like here. She's about to give a little bit of a kick now. Ramping up 4.2 watts per kilogram now. The Vixen Riders going to be battling out now. Where's the wattage kick now? Muldoon going to let her have it, though. Styler still 3.6, 100 meters, though. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen right now. And as you can see, it looks like Styler's going to be giving it. No, Muldoon, 6 watts per kilogram. Nips it, it looks like. I don't know. We'll have to see how that played out there real quick. Where is the sprint there? It looks like literally the kick. You saw that? 5 watts per kilogram right there. Who got it, though? There is the wheel coming right. Boom, right there. She got it. I think. I don't know, unless my view is wrong. My angle might have been incorrect. We'll have to wait and see. It looked like Muldoon said, no, Styler, I know you did some work, but I'm going to take this down.
Yeah, the live feed says as well that Muldoon was in front.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So, oh my God, I don't want to be on that team bus ninja. CVR sees all, Kim Little is saying there. Wait a second, what's happening here? Do you have to complete the race to be entered in for the swag? Morally, yes. Or you sit in the pen, sprint off, Chris is saying there. CVR sees all. Great job, Kim. Exciting battle set up for next week. Super exciting. I can't wait. Next week is going to be awesome. Actually, to see the battle between Zhujian and Kim. We're going to hype that up for sure. And hopefully we can get a few replay reels going together to watch all the battles we've seen between those riders leading up to this point here. So let's double check the social medias here real quick and see how are the ABC categories decided. Mark Miller, great question. How about we let our awesome analyst, Quentin LeFay, answer that question. So how are they decided?
Well, they're decided a couple of ways. The first, since this was the first season, the main way to decide the categories was that it depended on how you ranked in the preseason. If you entered a category, well, a bracket lower than what you should, you could upgrade before the season. The second way is your position in the CVR rankings. Depending on your division, you entered the A, the B, the C, the D bracket. And if you are totally new to the racing scene and you have pretty much not any race recorded, you just use your Zwift power category and enter whichever bracket fits your watts per kilogram, and that's pretty much the three ways you can find your category. If you're new, and well, once you get into one category, you can only go up or down one category. If you're an A, you can't be a D bracket in the next season. You have to go all the way down to B bracket, C bracket, and then downgrade to D if you really feel that's where you belong. But it takes some time. I mean, a season is 12 weeks, and 8 weeks of season and 4 weeks of postseason, when only a couple of riders get to battle it out. But it's 4 seasons per year, so it can take a little bit of time to downgrade and to upgrade. On the other hand, if you are smashing it in the D bracket, you don't upgrade automatically to the A's. And just like in sport, I mean, you have to show consistency to get all the way to the top.
It's awesome. I actually really enjoy that though. And early on, there were so many discussions about this back and forth. If you guys, anybody ever did digging on the depths of the Facebook groups, they would find all kinds of amazing discussions, we'll call them, on all the different ways that you could set up Zwift racing. And you think there's discussions going on now? There's a lot who are silent at this point that are now very involved in just getting things done. You know, there's a lot of people talking out there right now. There's a lot of people getting things done though right now to move things forward and work on those things. And a lot of those people early on, very early on in beta, 3 years ago, all the way till now, have just been getting things done. And kudos to all those getting things done. And kudos to all those adding their input as well. Most of that stuff that's been being said out there, though, has been said probably 1,000 times before. But it's all good input. And if you're looking to help out, be awesome for more to get things done, though. That's for sure. So, Quentin, but on that topic, not to end on a negative there, because I think it's absolutely awesome what CVR has done with the rankings, though, is what I'm trying to get at, is that what they've done with the rankings and the ability to upgrade and basing things off of results rather than an assumed ability. Racing is results, right? Like, your ability is based on what you can do in a race and not an assumed ability prior to entering a race. Now, group rides and events, that's a different thing. You go to a local group ride and they market an A ride or a drop ride or an elite or whatever you call it. You show up and you generally can hang out with them. It's not a full-on racing ranking situation. But in a rankings and racing situation, it's more about what you do in the race and how you have what you have for results. So I really enjoy what they've done with that there, Quentin.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool because like you said, racing is results, and you can't really much assume where you are going to finish just based on your FTP. I mean, you at some point it was expected to see that kind of rankings coming into Zwift, and I think CVR did a very good job at making it live for everyone and giving everyone the opportunity to ride and to race in an environment where you can find the same stuff that you know on the road and on the mountain bike as well, obviously. But it's very good to have that kind of upgrade and downgrade and based on the results rather than on your power output. And yeah, I mean, it gives you something to work for, to race for all season long, because if you're at the top, you are going to battle for the top spots. If you're at the bottom, you are going to race for maybe just to stay in your division. I mean, that's the case for me right now. And you just race for whatever goal you have given the rankings. And it adds maybe another layer to the racing scene, and it's good to have diversity, you know.
Now, looking at the points we are seeing with the, see if they've updated yet, and I am seeing Kim Little, and we also have Lava Man in the background. I don't know if you guys heard that, but we've got Don't Go in the Lava. I told you not to go in the lava right in the background just now, you guys. Kim Little, 6,012 points. Matthew Jujan, 6,009. 3 points behind now. It's going to come down to the last one. And it's going to also come down to maybe some tactics of putting some riders between each other, too. So we'll see how that plays out. Because if Kim gets second, Matthew gets first, Kim still wins by 1 point. So I think, wait. Am I right about that, though? Because it still matters to what their worst result is still. So actually, there's a lot of math to be done. Yeah. We're not going to do them live here. No equations on here, but man, it is close. Make sure to tune in next week for that. Now, next up, Marcin Quizwanos then, third place currently in the series. We didn't see him with the leaders though today, so but it looks like he's got that locked down. He's going to be battling it out in the postseason between whoever he and the other riders are going to be going in between whoever takes second there with Matthew and Kim. Yeah. So Anna here now. No update for the women's just yet that I can see. I'm going to go ahead and refresh here. I might have it. Let me just check here real quick and see what the leaders say. And it looks like for the women's zone E, no updates just yet. So we'll have to wait for that to update here. So, but on the day, that is very helpful. Mark Miller saying no problem. Mark Miller, glad to help you as best as we possibly can. For the results, though, Kristen Falk takes the win. Kirsty Hole, Carrie Konebear for third. Carissa Min takes the W in the B category. Hild Asperheim, then Sieve Anglo. Anna Barbado for 7th place overall, but it will be 4th place in the A category. Cheryl Muldoon for 1st place in the C. Lindsay Styler there for Vixen, 9th place overall. 1st place for the D. Lindy Gray for 10th place overall in the C category. She was 2nd place. Gemma Anchors, nice job to her out there. 11th place overall and 2nd place in the D category. All right, that's going to be it for me and Quentin on the day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow is Workout Wednesday. We're going to have Workout Wednesday with Greg Henderson later in the day, but also we will have Rowan King with Matt Rowe hanging out with you for Workout Wednesday earlier in the day, right around a little bit before what we call Kiss O'Clock, 1:45 p.m. CST. I believe that is 7:45 p.m. GMT. So Workout Wednesday tomorrow. That's going to be up from us today on Zwift Community Live. Lots of new programs on the way. A little bit of focus on Zwift run stuff as well. So be watching out for those new broadcasts as they will be underway. Quentin, thanks for hanging out with us today. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course, Quentin. Thanks for having me. No problem. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. That's going to be it for me, Nathan Garrett, coming at you from Zwift Community Live. We'll see you tomorrow for Workout Wednesday. And as always, right on.